Hello, my name is Jillian Meredith. Welcome to my presentation of Chapter 10, The Changing Family. Family is defined as a group of two or more people who are related by blood, marriage, adoption, or a mutual commitment and who care for one another. In every society, the family unit has existed. Often the family stereotype is the nuclear family, a father, mother, and children. However, throughout history, the nuclear family was not the norm. Due to early deaths and hardships, often one parent would die, leaving children in single-parent homes. Despite how families are composed, they each provide practical and emotional support for their members, and they socialize their children. A major change in family dynamics happened around the end of World War II in the 1940s. Men were returning home from war, and rapid families began to form, creating the baby boom generation. This led into the 50s and 60s with a Leave It to Beaver family model. However, less than 60% of American children during the 1950s lived in these types of homes. Most lived in homes of poverty, with the poverty rate being almost twice as high as it is today. Another shift came in the 70s, when more than 60% of women with children under the age of 6 began to enter the labor force, as compared to only 19% in the 1960s. At this time, the divorce rate dramatically increased. As seen in this graph from the most recent census, families have continued to dramatically shift since the 70s, with only 46% of Americans being married, compared to 70% in the 70s. Here are some other notable statistics from the census. I won't read them all, but some highlights include mothers were almost 4 times more likely to live alone with their children than fathers, and households with at least one unemployed parent rose by 67% nationally between 2019 and 2020. There are 3 sociological views of families and their functions. The first is functionalism. Functionalists believe that families exist to socialize children, provide practical and emotional support, regulate sexual activity, and provide social identity. The second view is conflict theory, which agrees with the functionalist view of families, but adds that families provide the source of conflict by contributing to social inequality and conflict within family members. The third viewpoint is symbolic interactionism, where social interactions are observed in family relationships with 2 main conclusions. First, husbands and wives have different communication styles and expectations. And second, expectations are affected by social class. While one may view families using any one of these 3 viewpoints, statistics show that social class does indeed have profound impact on families. Children enter the world endowed unequally. This inequality worsens after they're born for several reasons. These include increased risk to experiencing death, poor health, unemployment, divorce, victimization. All of these lead to stress. And as we learned in previous chapters, stress impacts brain development. Parents tend to talk less and read less to their child, resulting in entering school at a disadvantage. Children are not exposed to culture or advantages that come with wealth, such as sports or piano lessons. They grow up in poor neighborhoods and go to schools with less resources or live in houses that might have toxins. And they often can't go to college. And so this cycle continues. Divorce also has a huge impact on families. The best estimates say that 40 to 50% of all new marriages will one day end in divorce, with teenagers, people who are poor, and those with less formal education being much more likely to get divorced. Divorce also leaves women in life of poverty or near poverty. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, "we stayed together for the sake of the children." While this is still debated, with some research saying that children from divorce homes will do worse in school or will have drug problems, other studies are showing that living in poverty and the conflict before the divorce are more to blame for those results. A few other influences on families include cohabitation, if the mom should work outside of the home, and child abuse. Each of these areas has grown in recent years and have direct impact on our children. So what can we do as educators, knowing that there's no one set family unit? One thing we can do is use universal language. Diversity is the condition of differences in populations, different experiences, different characteristics. There are no diverse individuals, only diverse groups. For teachers, the implication is this, that they should not categorize students' families as normal versus different. Instead, we should recognize the differences among all students and find ways to balance individual support with universal languages and concepts that apply to everyone. So when you're getting to know your students, use questions like, who do you live with? This allows the child to share who lives with them and allows you to ask appropriate questions about their family. Or instead of assuming that mom cooks the child meal, you can ask, who cooks you dinner? A few other practical ideas include offering books that reflect many different family experiences, using inclusive languages, keeping holiday activities general, celebrating diversity through classroom visuals, and setting expectations of respect. As educators, we are called to create environments that celebrate diversity and allow students to feel accepted for who they are. We can do this by considering their unique family compositions and teaching them to be kind. Thank you.